Hello everyone, and welcome back. I am Droid here with...
Pyrotechnic. What's up, everyone?
And today we're doing a new segment called Movie Break, where we talk about movies. And today we're talking about Jurassic World.
Yay!
So, well, let's dive into it. First things first. What did we think of the movie? And after watching the trailer, what did you think?
I don't know. I was kind of worried about it because, like, Jurassic Park is an older series by my standards, and it's like a lot of the time when they try and make a movie like Ghostbusters,
Yeah,
like,
it was going downhill after the second and third one. It wasn't really looking that great for another segment into the franchise, more or less.
It's like, I don't know, when I heard Jurassic World was coming out, it was kind of like a curveball out of nowhere.
Yeah, I was about as excited as I would have been for the next Terminator movie, because we all know how great those have been so far.
Yeah. And then, like, the trailer was released for it, and I'm like, well, I might as well watch it. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? And then, you know, you watch the trailer and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, but the one thing I remember hearing about it is they said they're going to start using a lot of practical effects like they did in the first movie. And then all you saw in the first trailer was this big animated fish jumping out of the water eating an animated shark, which was cool as fuck. But it was all done on a computer somewhere. Like, there wasn't too much, like, real effects to it at all, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's not like they can use a real shark or
that
a real
is true,
dinosaur.
yeah. I mean, it would be quite hard to get a whale to jump out of the water and make it look like a big-ass fish. But, yeah, I understand.
You would also need it to specifically be a green whale.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you could just, color it in After Effects and that. Okay, so you think the opening for Jurassic World was, good in general?
Well, I think it was okay. Like, it seemed really slow at first. Like, I wasn't really aware of anything that was going on, because I was like, oh, hey, look at this thing, and then they would go and change it the next second, and it's like,
Yeah, they didn't really, like, for instance, in Jurassic Park is where you realize that there was a park because you saw something going on because there was that raptor incident, and then you got the credits, but then it built on, like, there were an archaeological dig, and he was running out of funds, and so what's his name, Dr. Crane, what his name was, came?
I think so.
Yeah, anyways, the KFC guy came with his Monopoly suitcase full of money and offered it, and it basically explained what the movie was going to be about.
Yeah.
And I found, in this one they kind of just skip forward it and try to push it towards the park, and okay, now we're at the park.
Yeah, like, rather than explain where the origins came from, it's just like, here's a brand new story, have fun.
Yeah, and I know they weren't trying to go too much with it. Was supposed to be a canon right off the first movie, but then I also heard maybe the second and third movie are kind of canon. It's like, so where did these ties end and where do they connect? Like, that would be something I really would want to discover more, into it. And if you're listening to this and you haven't seen the movie yet, then I would just skip forward to this. Let us click on the screen, because we're going to go right into the spoilers right here. And if you haven't seen it yet, I would highly recommend not listening to the spoilers. Come back after, maybe see what you thought, maybe you agreed with us, maybe you didn't. But anyways, here's a little button, countdown, 3, 2, 1. Alright, spoilers are coming out. Alright, movie started up. What did you think?
I don't know. I mean, like, it was interesting because the first 3 Jurassic Parks were all the same characters. And then this one, there was no reoccurring characters. Like, I know it's a bit in the future, but it's like a completely new cast of people. You have no idea who any of these people are.
Yeah, like, they don't even bring in the only guy in the series, B.D. Wong, until, I believe, once they finally start talking about the embryo and all about that, about the Indominus Rex and whatnot.
Yeah.
But one of the things I really didn't like about it is when the first opening is you see an egg, so you think of the opening of the first Jurassic Park where you saw the egg and the dinosaurs coming out, and you saw the goo and that coming off the arm, and like you could, it was a puppet, but it looked really cool, and like you actually were like, wow, that almost looks kind of cute, even though that's like ugly and gross as fuck. But then you see this and it's like the CG egg starts like cracking a little bit, and I wasn't too sure if it was CG or if it was actual practical effect, But then as soon as like the claw, I guess, of the Indominus Rex came through, and it was like twitching around a little bit, like you could just tell it was completely computer generated. And from there, I was like, okay, I know where this movie's going, I guess.
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah.
But that one part though, where it switched over to where it was going to introduce the family, and like I guess it was the bird landed on the ground.
Yeah, the crow's foot goes and just like.
Then
And then it just flaps
and
away
it's
like an
oh,
asshole.
just a little bird. Okay. Yeah. I know they probably didn't want to touch too much about what was going on with the family and that, but I really didn't even know what the parents' names were.
Well, the parents don't really play that big of a character in the movie, so I can kind of understand why they didn't really have names. But I don't know, it was really weird because I know you kind of don't act like that in front of your children when you're getting a divorce, but the parents look like perfectly happy in every aspect. It's like, okay, well, the kids need to know it. We don't need to know it.
Yeah, like and they also like kind of like try to force this little like, our family's coming apart, and then like halfway through, the small kid, what's his name, Ty Simpkins, he plays Gary. He's the young one, and he starts crying on the train halfway through about his parents are getting divorced, and his brother's just like, oh, don't you worry, we'll get through it, or whatever, blah blah blah. And then that's pretty much all you hear about it for the rest of the movie. Like, they were trying to give some character development to the kids, but then like around the end of the movie they kind of forgot about it. Like,
Yeah.
they didn't tell you like, well, it's this family incident, like in let's say like a 90s movie like Volcano, or I'm not sure if it happens in Volcano, but like, one of those movies where the family's going to be torn apart, but then something crazy happens and the family comes back together and they all love each other no matter what, and happy ending. Like, it doesn't even tell you if that happens. Like, it probably doesn't happen, but a little hint towards, oh, they're getting divorced, or no, they're staying together.
Yeah, I don't really know what was going on because, like, kind of looking at the beginning and then looking at one of the scenes in the end, it's like, so they looked really happy in the beginning, and then the kids went away, and then they were arguing over whether they were getting a divorce or not. And then at the end of the movie, they're there again, and it's not clear if they're actually like happy or
yeah.
not
If you're going to play
happy.
that storyline, at least like, I mean, I guess leave things open at the end. Like, I'm kind of hoping they don't make a sequel to Jurassic World. Like, I really hope there's not really Jurassic World 2. They like try and close all the, because that would probably just end up being really bad. But just like a little hint, I don't know. And like, it was really hard to really tell like who the main character of the movie was, because I thought the main character was Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
But then my fiance is like, no, it was the female. Do I have her name down here? Yeah, I do. What's her name? Bryce Howard? Yeah. Bryce Howard? Yeah, at the top. Yeah, she's the aunt. Yeah. Bryce Howard. And she was like, no, she's the main actor. And I'm like, okay. I don't know. It's just usually when you see a movie, like, this is your main cast, and they kind of just bounced around to everybody, I guess. Like, so nobody really got much character development. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, it started out with the kids being the main character, and they're going through and stuff, and then it was Chris Pratt doing his story, and then the lady.
it all of a sudden turns into a badass hurting a T-Rex. But we'll get to that anyways. But it's just like,
it went back and forth for a while, and I'm like, okay, so are these all just the main characters? Do we have 4 separate main characters? That's a little bit confusing.
like I can kind of see in Jurassic Park they didn't really hinge too much on like who's the main. Like, there was 2 groups. There was the after they got split up from the Tyrannosaurus Park or whatever, it ended up being 2 groups: the kids with Alan Grant, and then everyone back at base trying to help them out. And it was kind of easy to figure out what was going on and who was the main characters. And this one, it was just like, here's a whole park, and we're going to treat this movie as a whole park.
Yeah. See, my main issue with, like, when you first meet the Indominus Rex, it's like, so why did you choose to breed her, like, to create her or whatever, before the containment center was finished being built? Like, they were in the middle of building it, and then they're just like, oh, it'll be fine. They have accelerated growth. Nothing's gonna go wrong if you're not doing it.
That was the reason of the cuttlefish, is because if it had accelerated growth or whatever, it would be able to sustain its own weight or some crap bullshit science like that, and that's why it could camouflage. But yeah, it's like, why wouldn't you put a net over the top? Maybe like
Yeah.
do a little thing that in Godzilla. I mean, just put something. Just put a lid on it. Just
Yeah.
put a lid on your hot, boiling cup of water because it's gonna boil over like it did.
Yeah.
And I called it when I watched the trailer and I saw the scratches on the wall. I'm like, yeah, it didn't break out. It's actually still inside.
Yeah. And it ended up just hiding.
And they ended up knowing later that like, oh, it must have had like the thermal disclosure from one of the frogs or whatever that was able to hide its thermal
Yeah,
radiation.
the tree frogs.
Yeah, and it's like, well, if you put that in there, you would put that on the list of things that maybe should switch from thermals to possibly anything else, like I don't know, motion detectors. Like I'm fucking. Maybe motion detectors were probably cheaper if you think about it. They used that for hunting.
Yeah.
Like if they would have had motion, they would have been. He can't stand perfectly still. That guy's got a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Like that thing's thudding away. Yeah, I don't know. I just found it as a kind of a lame excuse. And then the big guy there, the one that opens the main door. Like there's gotta be another. Why wouldn't there be a human-sized door right next to the dinosaur-sized door?
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, that was a little iffy. 'Cause it's like, okay, I know it's an emergency, but why not just run into the door? Like they came out.
I think the
from
other
glass
door was on the other side. Like it was probably cut off by the T-Rex. But I don't know. I'm building a place for the dinosaurs to go in. I would act it like a prison, so the dinosaurs would go in this way, and I would also have a way for my guards to look at them from both sides. Be able to get in and out around the same doors, but have their own little small door. Maybe his teeth could fit through it, but that's it.
Yeah.
Like he's got a little long arm. As they put a metal solitary door up, you're good to go. What did you think about the raptors? The first showing of the raptors.
I thought it was pretty cool. Like, the fact that the Raptors have that loyalty to Chris Pratt. And
Yeah.
It's just like, he's just sitting there like, stay there. And they're just like, yeah, okay.
Like, I don't know. They just didn't sell in the trailer. Because when I saw in the trailer, I was like, really? He's got Raptor Bros? I mean, cool Raptor Bros, but like in the movie, it gets totally sold, like it's like his pack of alpha dog. He's the alpha dog or whatever, and that's his pack, like you would if you were riding Huskies up north or whatever,
Yeah.
And that really sold it a bit more than in the trailer. It's like Raptor Bros.
Yeah. Did you actually understand why he was the alpha in that pack?
I think it was I don't know, he was just more or less giving them the most attention. I think it would have been between him and that black guy there. I can't remember his name, but I think it was basically between those. They must have been working with the Raptors. See, this is what we kind of would like to need, is some sort of backstory connecting. Well, to get the Raptors from. Did they just make new Raptors? Did they use the old Raptors that were left? Because they're definitely still out there, I bet, unless they killed them all.
Maybe. I don't think they would have. Like, maybe they're the same Raptors. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe they just herded them all. The whole reason that he was the alpha is because you remember all the dinosaurs are female? Well, in Raptor packs, females can't be the alpha, so they're all
they
beta.
can. I'm pretty sure they can.
Well, only in a situation if there is no male, but there was a male.
Think about Chris Pratt. Like, the Indominus Rex was a female because it killed its brother.
Yeah, but it also hunts for sport.
Yeah, but they treated it like it was its pack leader, So yeah. I think basically how alpha male works, or alpha whatever works, is like, hey, I'm the strongest. If I can bite your face off, then you're gonna follow my orders more or less. And if it just so happens that it's a big ass female raptor, it's like, I'm gonna bite your face off, and the male or other female raptors be like, okay, you're the alpha now. You can bite this other alpha's head off, even though it's a male, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'd probably have to actually learn. I don't know anything about species and biology and all that, but
yeah,
it's probably something like that. I mean, honestly, if I was a raptor and I was going to hunt and I was running with my raptor bros and my human bros and all that, and I just looked up and saw this thing twice the size of the T-Rex, and it started speaking raptor to me, I might think it's Raptor God. I must do Raptor God's glory.
Are you beginning to feel like a raptor god?
I mean, the Indominus Rex was like the Zerskis of the Raptors.
It was just like, kneel before me, peasants.
Yeah. What'd you think of the richest guy, the 8th richest guy in the world? The one that was funding the park.
He was very not what I was expecting. Like, generally, you'd expect the eighth richest person in the world to be like, kind of like, oh, this is this and this is this.
Yeah, like a complete dick. But
yeah, this guy was just really
actually,
cool.
I was really when he spoiler alert, like I said, if you're still listening to this, go watch the movie. You haven't, but anyways, when he dies in the helicopter, I was like, man, that guy was badass. He was like, out of all of them, I thought he was probably the chillest because he's like, I'm the only one that needs to fly. Or she's like, isn't there anybody else? He's like, we don't need anybody else or whatever. And I'm like, nah, okay. I kind of buy that.
Yeah.
Go for it. And then, I don't know, when he crashed through there and then all the pterodactyls and I don't know if those are actual pterodactyls or what the hell those were, but did you see a pterodactyl look like it had a T-Rex's head?
Yeah.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, I saw a couple of those. Like, it kind of switched from looking like a regular pterodactyl's head, and then all of a sudden it would just be like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I was like, do those pterodactyls have mini T-Rex heads?
Like, is there two different types of birds? They fuck around with some splicing? Okay, I can see they kind of quarantine that off, but if they had InGen, like, military grade stuff, I do not see any excuse why you wouldn't have anti-aircraft weaponry surrounding the pterodactyl pet.
You know those velociraptors, they can jump pretty high.
They go out with an AA cannon, flat cannon. But you know what I mean? Like, throw some flat cannons, miniguns. They have access to miniguns. They had one in their inventory and they hooked it up to a friggin' thing, or the helicopter. So, like, I don't know. I'm sure they could have had some anti-aircraft things going on to take down some of them.
Yeah.
Like, they had the money. They had the eighth richest guy backing them in the world. Come on. You have no excuse. Where's your weapons?
Let's be honest here. That guy who was who was like shooting the minigun out of the helicopter, like, how the fuck do you miss a target that big?
It's that big, and how do you miss that much? Like, he didn't hit him once. Like, it was like a stormtrooper was in that fucking heli. I swear to God, like, that guy's gonna be in the next Star Wars stormtrooper front line. Like, there's Han Solo shooting in the roof, like.
Yeah, really. It's gonna look like that scene from Family Guy with the police officers, and they're just like shooting in random directions.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, that's bad. But yeah, I was kind of wondering too, like, did the Indominus Rex know that there was pterodactyls in there? And if so, how? Did he have like some GPS route, or did he just know that they were, because he knew he was being hunted by a helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
He just smashed into the dome, the one thing that can take the heli down. Like, I know he's smart, but come on, if I just got dropped in a prison on an island and just escaped on an island and I'm running a rampage around squishing these little tiny dudes, I'm not gonna there's this pen over here with a bunch of birds over it. It's gonna eat a bunch of dudes. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Unless I don't know. Unless he just randomly crashed into it. But that's one big fucking coincidence. Holy shit. And what did that lady do deserve to die? The one that was, like, looking after the kids.
Yeah, what was up with that? Like, she had absolutely no character development whatsoever. We only knew, like, 3 things. One, she was really ditzy. 2, she doesn't pay attention to the boys. And 3, holy fuck, she talks on the phone for a long time.
Yeah, well, like, that's what you'd expect, eh? I mean, she's the assistant for, like, the park, she'd be the park curator pretty much, because she runs everything, because the owner just throws money at her. So yeah, she's supposed to be there, like, managing shit, like putting, like, writing dates for her, like, like she did, like, when they first met or whatever. She's like, oh, you got an appointment at this time, that time. Like, that's what she's doing. She's not a fucking babysitter. If you're rich, go hire a fucking babysitter. Don't get your accountant or your fucking day planner to go look after these kids, because they're too busy fucking making meetings and shit for you, so you can go on with your day without also having to do those fucking meetings.
Yeah.
And then the kids are dicks, and like, this lady that's doing all this hard work and shit for auntie, let's peace out. And they ran off. So now she's like probably terrified she's gonna lose her job that's like, and probably a pretty amazing job. I mean, you're working at a theme park with dinosaurs and shit like that, you know? So now she's freaking out. And then the pterodactyls get loose. So now she's freaking out thinking the kids might get eaten. So now she's totally freaking out. And then she sees the kids, and then she gets eaten. Pterodactyl pulls her up, and the big fish eats the pterodactyl and her. And she gets, like, throws her in the water. And they fuck around with her for a bit too, man.
Yeah.
Like, that was a kind of a brutal, like, there wasn't much blood or anything, but dude, like, in a movie like that, it's like, what, in 2012, like, you see some, like, dick reporter, like, being a complete arrogant asshole in the middle of the street reporting on something, and he gets smacked by the billboard, and you're like, dude, that's what you get for being an arrogant asshole out in the street, be acting like a dick, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
she had no reason to get fucking gangbanged by a bunch of fucking pterodactyls.
I really want to touch on the fact that, like, she had that special death because, like, you see the kids run away and then you don't see her again until the pterodactyl scene. Like, it's basically like, okay, so I'm this really important character, and then the kids take off, and never once do you ever see a scene of her just, like, looking for the kids, like, oh my god, I'm gonna lose my job.
I know, and it's just like, oh, next scene she dies. It's like, I don't know, was I supposed to be like, haha, that's what you get, you dumb bitch? Or like, because no, I was like, oh my god, they just like totally, like, what? Like,
what did she do to deserve that?
No,
Did she like
I'd
come to work late or something?
like I'd expect the fat guy that the guy that got eaten by the raptor, like that's how he got his comeuppance. He was an asshole, so he got his comeuppance. The raptor ate his hand and like swallowed him whole, and that's when you're like, haha, that's what you get. I did not get that with her death. Like, that's just mean.
God.
But you gotta remember the guy with the two martinis running along as the pterodactyls were like coming in.
Yeah, the pterodactyls are coming in to like eat everyone's face, and the guy's like, gotta save this alcohol. Like, holy fuck, that guy's
I'm bringing this back to my apartment. Fuck this. Like, oh yeah, but it was getting good. I found it picked up. It wasn't too slow around the beginning. It picked up into the action quite well. I found the hunting, or her turning from CEO to Indiana Jones sidekick.
Yeah. What was with that?
Like she just went like her whole character development was when she flipped her shirt inside out and rolled up her sleeves. That was her character development. Now she's ready to go. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now she's Indiana Jones Annie. Like,
I was really confused because when you first meet her character, she seems like such a hard ass. She's like, okay, this needs to be done and this needs to be done and I need to do this and you need to do that. And then like as soon as the kids are like involved with that character, she just turns into like this emotional wreck.
Pretty much for the rest of the movie. And she doesn't make the greatest decisions, I'd have to say, throughout. Like, yeah, she endangered those kids' lives more than a few times.
Yeah. Speaking of the kids, I actually found it completely ridiculous when like they found the old Jeep in the Jurassic Park storage area, and then they're like, hey, you remember that time that like a really young teenager and like a 9 or 10-year-old fixed grandpa's Jeep?
And like, I knew what they did too. All they had to do was switch the battery, but that's what they should have focused on is, hey, I'm turning on the car. Like, oh, that's the sound of the battery dead. Remember when we fixed the Jeep and we changed the battery and it worked?
Yeah.
See, that's something that would work. But if you just pulled a line like, oh, remember that Jeep we fixed a while ago or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then you just have like a cutaway scene, you go back, you expect that they just hauled everything out and put it back together or some shit like that with dinosaurs around that. But like, I know all they did is they pulled out the battery and put in the new battery from the go-kart they crashed.
Yeah.
But that's what you should highlight. Like, you only notice that if you've actually looked under a car engine and been like, oh, I see what they did, you know, just, oh, they swapped batteries. But most people just be like, did they just rebuild that?
What happened?
And I have to say, that's some convenient ass timing. And as they leave, the Indominus Rex shows up and decides to stay at the quiet station instead of the loud Jeep. Like,
yeah, really.
If I want to be the alpha predator and kill everything, and I hear this loud noise whip off, I'm gonna go to that loud noise and mess it up. I'm not gonna investigate where it came from. Try to make a little action scene with the lover twins or whatever. Like,
yeah, that was another thing too. I really didn't think the movie needed a whole romance aspect. Like, what? Why? It's a movie about dinosaurs ripping everything apart. Why do you need to have a romance?
Oh, you know, it sounds good. Like, yeah, I don't know. There was no romance in the first movie. Like, they kind of hinted at it, I think, with Jeff Goldblum and What's Her Face, but they more or less just hinted at the fact that he's just a womanizer, more or less.
Yeah.
And I think her and the main character were divorced or something. Yeah, they were going through a divorce, I think, or something like that, weren't they? Or...
What? No, that was the parents. They had dated once before, and then.
Anyway, but see, it was to the point where we don't even remember what it was, so they didn't even imply it that much. But this whole movie, it's like they're rubbing in their face, like, are they going to get together? Are they going to get together? Oh no, they had a little chuckle here and there. Kill myself, dinosaur, eat them, go. Like, I don't know. Thinking moving on to the climax of the movie.
Yeah, the epic fight scene.
I'd have to say though, when it started out with the Raptors, when it was just the three Raptors and they all got wrecked. See, well, I was trying to confuse. I'm trying to like figure out, okay, which was the one that survived? Like you said, it was probably the one that got thrown against the pillar and fell down. Yeah, but I guess, and there was another one at the third one got also thrown off screen, but I guess it could be either one of the two, because one of them got RPG'd and the other one got fry broiled in the Danny's barbecue, like freaking Raptor, good to go. Like I felt bad, but it was hilarious at the same time. Like I was like, oh no, Raptor, but holy fuck, look at it cook. Like, and then the kid just cliche says, we need more teeth. We need more. Just say you need a dinosaur. Just say get the T-Rex. Just, you're the dinosaur kid. Be like, lady, we need the T-Rex. Just go do it. Not, we need more teeth. I'm gonna play the pronoun game.
We need more teeth. If she was anyone
else,
they would probably just be like,
more raptors?
What do you mean more teeth? You can't put more teeth in a raptor.
When she went to go herd the dinosaur away, or not herd it away, like she went and she grabbed the red flare, ran up to the T-Rex pen, called the guy a bitch over the phone or whatever to tell him to open it up, and she just opens the flare and the T-Rex bolts out like, hey, what's up? And she's like, yo, I got this flare. He's like, I remember seeing one of those. It's calmly walking towards her, and then she just starts calmly running towards the other dinosaur, and there's the T-Rex. Oh, where are we going today, ma'am? And then she just runs out, and then she starts sprinting once she sees the other dinosaur and runs off. And it almost, at one point, it looked like she was hiding behind the T-Rex, like almost like King Kong kind of vibe-ish. Like the T-Rex was protecting them or some shit like that. Like, I don't know, like the fight was cool. It was just that just, there's a couple scenes I was like, that, what is she leaning up against the tail or something like that? Or
I don't know.
She was like, I don't know, yeah. I probably have to see it again, but
yeah. See, the only thing I could really think of is if, like, you know how Chris Pratt has that relationship with the Raptors? If maybe she had that kind of relationship with the Tyrannosaurus Rex, like, maybe she goes and spends time with it, like, every day and has been since it was born. We don't know that, but that would definitely be a
really
good thing
cool
to explain.
Show. Yeah, like, how come when the T-Rex saw her, he just didn't, like, maybe he did howl, but that was, like, another reason. He didn't have his great, like, T-Rex roar. Like, I think his first one, there's like a bunch of rain shit going on. He's like, rawr, 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 and he fucking moves on or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you need like everything to stop, everything to be quiet, and then just the whole.
Yeah. I'm really confused though when the T-Rex got there and the Indominus Rex or whatever was like causing shit everywhere. And then she just throws the flare at the Indominus Rex, and then all of a sudden the Tyrannosaurus Rex is like, hey, you stole my flare.
Yeah.
You have to die. Like, why did they start fighting? It's not like the dinosaur was like, hey, you've been terrorizing these people. You have to pay for your injustice.
Yeah, I can kind of see, like, well, if you're trying to think about, like, what if two dinosaurs like that walked across each other in the woods? They wouldn't just bypass each other.
Well, they might.
But see, the T-Rex also too just like went out and just, you know, like, I'm the alpha dinosaur, and basically went to start a fight when it should have been like, you know, the T-Rex being like, what the fuck is that thing, you know? And then like the Indominus, the one that's like trying to be top predator or whatever, like the one that attacks T-Rex. Like, I'm not trying to tell them how to do the scene or anything like that, but it was just like Mortal Kombat. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, fight! Like, yeah. But the fight was pretty cool. Like, at one point, the Raptor was riding the T-Rex. Like, I would watch a whole 2 hours of Raptors riding T-Rexes into battle.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. No, but like, the fight went almost exactly how I saw it happening. Like, as soon as the T-Rex and the Indominus Rex went at each other, I'm like, that T-Rex is not gonna win this fight. Like,
yeah,
he has like, no use of his arms whatsoever.
First, I was like, when we first, like, near the beginning, when we saw the fish, I turned over to my fiance and I told her, I'm like, that big fish, that thing's gonna kill the Indominus Rex. And then later in the movie, that ends up happening. But yeah, like, I was, you kind of figured like the Indominus Rex is fucking it up. I'm like, okay, so this is, if you think about it like any other movie fight, the villain's obviously going to start beating the crap out of, you know, the protagonist, or the antagonist is going to beat the crap out of the protagonist to the point where it looks like the protagonist is going to lose, and then something helps the protagonist to defeat the antagonist, which in this case, which is the raptor, where then they have that little raptor fight scene or whatever.
It's kind of funny though the way the raptor comes into the scene. It's like, just have that. Yeah, like just like, and then it just shows the raptor running in slow mo.
Yeah,
and
like,
honestly, it's like if you put Indiana Jones music there, it would go perfectly.
I was thinking it was like you know, like that racing music, you know, like.
Sorta.
Oh, I'm trying to. Anyways, I'll put it in the video, and you guys will hear it, and you'll know what I mean. But it would basically be perfect for that part. It's like, you know, when you see it's like 100-meter race, and someone just finishes the finish line, so slow mo. It's like, wee, like, and it's like, I'm going to help you, arr, 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 and then just like jumps on the Indominus, and the T-Rex just like gets up, good to go, fights everything. And then like, what was it? They fought for a little bit, threw the Indominus near the water, and then like they both like had that like 3-way stare down, and then the big fish came up and ate them, and just like dragged them in like a friggin' minnow out of nowhere.
Yeah, the Mosasaurus. Oh man, that entire fight basically, I was on the edge of my seat, and then the Mosasaurus came out, and I was just like, ooh,
yeah, like, oh man, that was pretty good. And then, like, it just drags it in the water, and the T-Rex looks at the raptor, and Fiance's like, don't eat the raptor, let the raptor be! And they both just, like, look at each other and walk away. Even though the first movie ended with the T-Rex ate the raptors. And that's the thing, that T-Rex from the old movie is the same one in this movie, so I think you'd have a beef against raptors.
Yeah, probably. I don't understand what happened between Blue and Chris Pratt, though, because, like, he was just standing there having a stare down with the raptor, like, after the whole fight scene, and then he just like shakes his head, and the raptor's like, okay, what was he saying don't do it to? I don't understand. The raptor wasn't really making any clear decision to go murder someone or something.
Yeah, like, I would have more expected him to shake his head up and down like, good job, pig, like, you know what I mean, like, and then he's like, okay, I'm gonna run off and be free now, da 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 da. You know, but you know, he just shook his head like, oh, I'm disappointed, Blue. Very disappointed in you. You said what you didn't kill it. You let the big fish do it. We can't be friends, bro. Like, but anyways, well, I don't know. What'd you think of the movie, kind of like in total? Like, would you change anything about the movie?
Well, like I said earlier, I would definitely get rid of the romance thing. Like, it added nothing to the movie. It was like, you didn't need that whole part. You could just look at like the ranger and the head lady or whatever and be like, okay, there's obviously something gonna go on between them, and then that's it. Just leave it there, because I mean,
get over it. It's not a love story. It's a fight movie.
You didn't do anything to the story. It's just like
you're watching.
Yeah, it's like you're watching the movie, but you also are aware that something is going on over here.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. I didn't really approve of the whole love aspect of it. You know, like, if you're gonna do an action blockbuster movie, don't try and bring in these little quirky things like, oh, global warming this, oh, love, romance that. Like, no, like, if you're gonna do it, just go balls deep, fucking put as much effort as you can into the movie. Take away all that filler, because they could have added so much more depth into anything, like more connection to InGen, like more connection to like how they created the dinosaurs, where they were, why is this place restricted up here. Like,
they really didn't touch on the whole Jurassic Park thing that much. Like, I think you only really see the logo 3 or 4 times, and it's like on the guy's shirt, on the gate, I'm pretty sure, and on the Jeep.
One thing I liked about what the guy said is he's like, you know what I liked about the old park is they did it the old school way. They didn't need any of this fancy, high-tech, classy thingamajig crap. And I kind of looked at it from like a movie aspect, as if he was talking about Jurassic Park the movie, and was more or less talking about the fact that they used a lot of, you know, real life prosthetics, you know, like actual dinosaur pieces, like minimal CG. Like, I think there was a total of, I think they said about 7 minutes of CG in the first movie and 14 minutes of prosthetics use, or whatever it's called.
Holy crap.
Yeah, No, it's not prosthetics. What is that called? Let's see. It's when I'm recording. I can't think of the right words that I'm supposed to be using. Of course, but anyways, you guys know what I mean. But yeah, like I think they used it a bit in Jurassic World, where you know a couple of the dinosaurs' heads, like when that one dinosaur dies, like the Brontosaurus, I think its head was real, like you know they used the puppet kind of thing, and the same with the raptor heads when they're in those cages. Gave us kind of a feel for like the real aspect of the dinosaurs, but I don't know. I felt there was too much CG. I would have took most of that out. Like if, of course, let's say for the fish, you'd use CG in that for that most of the big shots, but there's no excuse. It's been what 20 years now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
22 actually since the first one came out.
It came out in 1990, 1991, or 1992.
I don't remember.
It's between those 3 years, but still, I don't know. More or less, yeah, but you know, for a summer blockbuster movie, I like it.
Yeah.
You know, compared to what it's been coming out, I mean, the other movie that was playing was Spy, and I didn't even know that was coming out, and it has like Jason Statham and all that in it. And I saw the trailer for it, and I already called the plot of the movie. I know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's a good movie as part of the Jurassic Park series, but like on its own, it's an amazing movie.
As a standalone summer blockbuster, it's perfect to go see.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a hardcore fan of the Jurassic Park movies, still go see it, but don't try and hold it up to the first one. I'd say this is more along the lines of, not as bad as the second one, but I actually kind of like the second one, but I'd say along those kind of, that's how it was written. It was more of like how The Lost World was more or less presented in a way. Like, a bit rushed, glossed over some things, more or less, but the final product, yeah, go watch it for a summer movie.
Yeah.
I think this has been Droid and
Pyrotechnic.
And this has been Movie Break. I hope you guys enjoy. This is our first episode. If you'd like to see more, leave a like below and don't forget to subscribe. And we'll see you all next time.
Bye, guys.